Greetings, Patrick here, Half Cheetah Worldview, and welcome to another edition of Dollar Theater. Dollar Theater is an ongoing review series that was created by our good friend Hobbs from Hobbs Horror, in which we watch and review films that we have gotten for $1.25 or less, also known as budget ballas. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a Masters of Horror episode called The Fair Hair Child, and I really enjoyed it. I was going to do another one back to back, and then we did. Then we on the Midnight Society, we deep dived into the Black Coat's Daughter. So I decided to review that last week, but we're back. We're back with the original review I was going to do for. I decided to do the Black Coat's Daughter, and we will be talking about Deer Woman from the Masters of Horror series. This came from the first season. It's the 7th episode. It was directed by John Landis and co-written by John Landis and his son Max. Wow, this is a very cool episode. This is truly a horror comedy. There's a lot of laughs in here, as well as gore and a bit of sassiness. But there's a lot of fun. There's even a couple of big Easter eggs in here that really will catch your attention if you pay attention. So really, what the story is about, Deer Woman, is about a strange creature is going around and killing men, and no one knows what's happening or how it's happening, or why it's happening. The episode opens up with some friends are playing pool, and one guy has to go to the restroom. They say you have to go outside, so he goes outside, and he hears a fellow trucker on his truck, and he's screaming. And so he's like, but you don't know if he's, his buddy's like, he's half hammered, so he doesn't know if he's screaming because he got lucky, but when he walks over to the truck, the screaming stops. And so he says, okay, well, he must have got lucky. So he goes back. Well, he didn't get lucky. He got very unlucky because he got very dead. And so Detective Faraday and Officer Reed are assigned to go down there because they said something weird had happened. So Detective Faraday is pretty much the department's bottom of the rung cop. I mean, he's the last cop you send when you have nobody else to, and Reed just happened to be the guy to partner up with him. So they go down to the bar, and they notice that the truck door has been kicked in from inside. I mean, the whole door has been ripped off. And so they go inside. The trucker says, well, that's not really what I called you for. I called you for what was inside of the truck, not the door. Well, they go inside there, and they see that, yes, indeed, the trucker has been not only killed, but killed pretty horrifically. He's been kicked to death, so to speak. And so Faraday and Reed, they call it in, and next thing you know, they're being pulled off the case by another, cop, because they don't trust Faraday to work a homicide anymore. So, Faraday's just burned out, and we find out later on what happens. Well, anyway, his partner, Officer Reed, they get removed from the case because Faraday's doing animal attacks. That's what he's been assigned to. Well, they go ahead and they start investigating. They start investigating it the best they can. And it's an animal attack, but it's not anything like they've seen. And so after the second one, they discover that there's hoofs, and the men are being killed by being attacked by somebody with hooves. Well, we find out what happens is that there's a beautiful Native American woman. The actress's name is Cynthia Mora, and she's stunning. Holy crap! Yeah, But she was just there for, she didn't, she was, real quick, she wasn't there for a long time in the business, at least not in North America. She was born in Brazil, so she actually might be a Brazilian TV star or a movie star, but up here she only did 2 projects, and this is one of them. Anyway, she seduces the men, takes them back to their room, and then kills them. Now, she's beautiful, but you should have, but you notice instantly one thing: she doesn't talk. She doesn't talk. She smiles. She doesn't talk, and it's really chilling. So they show her smiling, and she's absolutely stunning. But then when she like her smile goes from smile to like deadly serious. It's chilling. It's really effective. She did a great job in the role. Well, Faraday and Reed, after 3 men have been killed in 2 nights, they get put back on the case, and because they realize that there's got to be more to this than what we know. And then we found out that Faraday, the reason why he is where he's at is because him and his partner went on a drug raid, and that Faraday had not gone in. They didn't call for backup, and his partner got killed in a friendly fire by Faraday. Faraday killed a drug guy who was attacking him, but his bullets went right through the guy and hit his partner and killed him. So, of course, he's going to be a pariah in his department for that, and so that's the reason why he gets all the shit jobs. Well, anyway, but it does not mean that he's not a good detective, because he's a very good detective, and he's open-minded about what he's investigating, including him and Reed go talk about the case, and they're talking about it, and a Native American casino manager overhears them, and he comes over there and he starts telling them about the myth of the deer woman. But the Native Americans laughs at it. He's laughing as he's telling the story. And then he's realizing that these two cops are not laughing. They want to know more, because they're believing this. And the Native American casino boss, he's just like, "Are you serious? Are you seriously believing this?" And he goes, "Yeah." So anyway, after they work their case a little bit more, Reed says he's going to come back a little later and have some fun. And Faraday goes back to the office, and sure enough, we pick up Officer Reed, and he's at the casino, and he's not having the best of luck. But all of a sudden, he gets approached by this beautiful woman, and we see it's Deer Woman, and so he's thinking this is lucky day. So he's halfway bombed. He's wants some cash because she's telling him what to bet on, and he's winning. So they get back to the hotel room, and he had I guess he had told Faraday where he would be at, because Faraday calls. He calls in, and he says, "Hey, man," he starts talking about the case, and he says, and Reed is, sort of toasted. And he says, "Hey, I'll tell you what, I got a beautiful girl up here. I'll see you tomorrow at work." And then Faraday says, "Did you check her feet?" And all of a sudden, you see Reed's face like, "Oh shit!" And and he says, he looks, he lifts the skirt off the beautiful woman, and sure enough, there's deer feet. And he says, call for backup, and of course, by the time that Faraday gets there, it's too late. But he and the deer woman have one more encounter left to go before it's all said and done. Wow, this was a fun episode. The ending was a bit of a surprise. I didn't really expect it to end up quite like that in terms of Reed buying the farm, so to speak. I thought they would end up sitting in the middle of the bar and saying, "I can't, we can't be talking about this shit, because how are we going to explain what we just saw, But it got a little darker at the edge at the end. But this is not a dark episode of Masters of Horror. This is a very funny episode. Like I said, with a lot of Easter eggs, and it was really cool seeing Brian Benben. He played Faraday. Now, Brian Benben, gosh, he was one of cable TV's big stars when cable came out. He did a show on Showtime, I believe it was, called Dream On. And Dream On was very popular back in the 90s. He was playing a slacker who, and then he had all these weird fantasies, and they would have a parade of like Playboy playmates come in just like every episode. It was like the first cable comedy show, but it was sassy. It had nudity in it, but Brian Benben, he was a funny guy, and so he did that show for a long time. Then he moved on to do some other things as well. But I don't think he ever got he did Private Practice. I remember that. He appeared on Private Practice for like 3 or 4 seasons. But he should have been like a more of a he could have been like a earlier version of Ryan Reynolds. Oh God, did I say that? Yes. But it's because he was good looking and he was funny and he was people really liked him. He had that persona that he was really likable. He wasn't like a smart ass or, and so he was popular there for a minute. But unfortunately, never really translated into that for him. He did a couple of movies. He did he did the radio. He got Radioland Murders, which was in the middle of his run on Dream On. And then he tried to come back a little later in 1998, to do the Brian Benben show, but I believe that was on Fox, and it didn't go anywhere. It was like a short run, and it's like his time had really sort of passed as far as being a leading man. So he slid into character parts, and he did a couple other series as well. He did one called Imposters, and he did one called Private Practice. Anthony Griffith, who played the Reed, he was funny too. He works in comedy, and like I said, there's Sonia Bennett. She played the coroner. She was really charming as well, and she sort of believed what they were telling her. And there's some really interesting. There's a lot of humor in the morgue, that's for sure. And so she was really a standout too as Dana, and of course Cynthia Mora, who played Deer Woman. Like I said, she was wow. I think that was one of the calling cards of Masters of Horror. Not every episode featured nudity, but a lot of them did. And as this one, but she was beautiful. I mean, just because she did that does not take it away. She did a great job with acting without saying a word. I mean, she didn't need to say anything. Her face said everything. It was really a really good performance. And, if they had wanted to make the episode darker, more, horror, just strictly horror, instead of just horror comedy, they easily could have done that. She was great. Shame she's not doing anything up here, because I really would have liked to seen. She should have done some more things up here. That's for sure. All right. John Landis' directing was really spot on. The story itself was really great. I thought John and Max Landis both did a great job with Dear Woman. This was definitely one of the more interesting episodes of Masters of Horror. And just in case people forget, how do I know who's his Landis son and father? Well, John Landis directed the American Werewolf in London, and he also was tragically the director in The Twilight Zone, where they had the infamous crash. Max Landis wrote the book about the zombie war, how to survive a zombie outbreak, and he also, which was the basis for the film World War Z. So that's where those two came up on. All right, well, that's my review. That's my thoughts. I really enjoyed it. I think you would too. Again, Masters of Horror. It ran for 2 years on cable, and it ran 1 year on NBC. Fear itself, spiritual sequel, so to speak. It was like very much like Masters of Horror, except it couldn't have the language or the nudity in it. Could have the gore. Fear itself has some moments, but it just couldn't do the nudity or the language. It ran for, and the Masters of Horror itself ran for 2 seasons. All right, that is it. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of the episode of Dear Woman. Was it one of your favorites? Which favorite episode of Masters of Horror do you like? This is our 3rd one that we've covered. We've covered The Fair Hair Child, and we covered Jenifer. And I'll put the links down. I'll put the links down for that, so you can check out our reviews for those 2 episodes. All right, thanks for watching, and drop a comment, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell. Peace.